to add people in here. So welcome everybody. My name is Dawn Hutchins. I am the owner of Veggie Cooking, and you are joining us for Dinner with a Doc. And so my co-host is Heather Borders, and I'm going to have her introduce herself. And we've also got our Dr. Megan Weigel with us. So Heather, go ahead.
Yeah. Hey guys, my name is Heather Borders. I'm a local registered dietitian to Jacksonville, Florida. I own Kylo Nutrition, and Dawn and I have been friends for quite a while. And between the two of us, the people that, kind of our inner circle as to who we're helping, we saw a really big need to get the word out for the clinicians in the area that see patients and really focus on nutrition and lifestyle medicine as a core to healing, and aren't as quick to lean back on their prescription pad or to recommend procedures, especially if the patients are looking for a way to reverse their diseases and conditions and get rid of their symptoms and not just manage them. So that's kind of how we landed here. Dr. Megan, so March is your month, and maybe we should say aloha because you are in Hawaii right
now. Aloha, everybody. Yeah, and I'm just crossing my fingers that the internet holds. So glad to be here with you guys.
Fantastic. All right, so let's begin with a little introduction. Please tell us who you are and maybe your current role right now.
Yeah, certainly. Well, right now, my current role is to be on vacation. To take a time out with you guys now. But my name is Megan Weigel, and I'm a nurse practitioner. I own and am the sole provider at First Coast Integrative Medicine, where I take care of people who have chronic neurological conditions and medically unexplained symptoms from the standpoint of an integrative medicine approach. I also work a couple of days a week at Universal Neurological Care back in regular neurology. I think I see my current role as sort of an educator and a connector for a lot of people, kind of like what you guys are doing. So outside of the clinic, I feel like that's what I was put here to do.
Love it. Love it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for sending us this awesome dinner recipe. I actually made my recipe. I am down in Jupiter, Florida, and I don't know if you guys can see me. Let me see.
Lift it up. Lift it up.
Okay.
There you go.
I made this in my camper because I'm down. There's Heather's, and here's mine, you guys. And yeah, so we can't wait to dig into this and try it out. So
why don't you tell us about your recipe?
Yes.
Where did you get it from, and tell us about how you like to make it.
Sure. So I adapted this recipe from a book called The Self-Care Cookbook by Gemma Ogston. And basically, I made the recipe a little bit more Asian, let's just say. So I added in shiitakes. It called for miso. I didn't have any, so I used tamari. I used chili garlic paste instead of sriracha, just because my son likes that a little bit better. I added onions, I added bok choy. I just wanted to, whatever I do, I try to add more greens to what I'm doing, and more sulfur rich vegetables to what I do. Mediterranean diet, but also of Dr. Andrew Weil anti-inflammatory diet, and he kind of adds that Asian to the Mediterranean diet. So I don't even remember what the initial name of this dish was called, but I called it Hearty Asian pasta.
Yeah,
I love it. Dawn, did you make any modifications to your salad?
The only thing I changed this time was that I used just some of the button mushrooms, because last month with Dr. Deb, I made a couple of changes, but just, sometimes I may not have access to the shiitakes or so, whatever. I might not have the same access to everything, but pretty much I actually kept everything else the same. And so, yeah, it is delicious. I'm really excited to share it with my family too.
Awesome.
So, one of the things we like to do on Dinner with the Doc is kind of let people know some shortcuts, some hacks, and ways to make things quicker. And I did not have a lot of time today. And so one of the things I really wanted to show everybody was this product that I got at Publix, and it's called Palmini. And so I totally skipped the pasta part. I just didn't have time. And palmini is hearts of palm, and in this case made into linguine. And so there's no cooking. You just drain it, and I just put it in the pan with all the vegetables and everything else and the leafy greens, and it's like done. You just like literally open the can and drain it. And it's called palmini. You can get it in the pasta section in Publix, and I think they also have lasagna shaped noodles as well, and it's made of hearts of palm, so it's actually a vegetable. So so that is like a hack, and I love how you modified the recipe. And I think just based on what I had in the house, I modified the recipe. It's like playing telephone but with recipes.
Yeah. The only other thing I actually changed, now that you mention it, is I used frozen butternut squash instead of the fresh and then roasting it, because if I was doing it in the camper. So I used frozen, and then I basically did it on the stovetop, and then I just added it in with everything else. So it was delicious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. I love it. All right. So what I like to do is and
I did too, actually, not frozen, but I used the Trader Joe's stuff that was already cut. Great.
Love it.
Oh yeah, that's a good time-saving hack.
It really is.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have more money than time, and sometimes we have more time than money. And when you're looking to cut time and you have a few extra dollars, you can splurge and buy that butternut squash that's already prepped and saves you tons of time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, Dr. Megan, we always want to know about our clinician's journey. So how did you get to where you are? What brought you into your field? And were you always nutrition minded, or did that come later? Tell us a little bit about your story, and then we'll get into, we want to hear about multiple sclerosis and your work in that area as well.
Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I have always been, let's say, wellness oriented from, I don't know, from birth, I guess. When I was doing my doctoral research, I was doing it on preventive health care. But my journey into integrative medicine, I think, began with yoga and multiple sclerosis. So, I was already kind of bent in this preventive healthcare sort of place with my patients, with being proactive instead of reactive. But I had my kind of a crisis in my life that led me into yoga, and gave me the opportunity to attend a teacher training. During that teacher training, I said, I don't want to be a teacher, but if you're going to force me to be a teacher, I only want to teach yoga to people living with MS. And eventually that's what I did. And what I saw in my yoga classes was people who I knew, Jill being one of them, who's here on the call. They were doing things in class that, based on what I knew of them in the neurological clinic, doing their little tests and things like that, they shouldn't really be able to do. And so I recognized that there was something beyond my medicine at work. And I really wanted to dive deeper into that. So I sought out training that could allow me to give appropriate care to people within my specialty. I found the fellowship that I completed, the Integrative Medicine Fellowship at the University of Arizona. And then in that period of time, I had a child, I took some time off, I went back to work, and at that point in my life, I didn't think I could incorporate it into regular medicine. There just wasn't enough time. Outside. I thought he was with you. There just wasn't enough time. And so I left and started my own practice. And what I'm recognizing even in my own practice is that it's still very hard to live a healthy life, no matter how much coaching you have, no matter how much support you have. There's a lot of misinformation available. And it's, I kind of see myself as a connector to getting people to the right places for understanding what the best thing is for their health. And from a nutrition standpoint, you can spend all the money you want every month on hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars worth of supplements and gimmicky things to do. But if you're still eating crappy food, you're just throwing away, all of that time and money. And so I think that I'm a believer in natural medicine and more ancient principles, and probably the most ancient of principles is nutrition. Eating healthy, eating with the seasons. And so, so that's my journey. And here I sit.
I love it.
That is wonderful. So how do you, I guess I should say, what are the benefits you see for MS specifically when you teach your patients to start eating more healthfully? Because I think there's still a lot of misinformation about the fact, like the diet and disease connection. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that you would ever say that it could cure MS, but is it that good nutrition helps the symptoms so much that it really helps with people's mobility and things like that? It'd just be interesting to get your take on that.
Yeah. So what we have going on right now in MS finally is some larger nutrition trials. So they've looked at nutrition from a disease modifying standpoint. Back, decades ago in the early 90s, early 2000s, they looked at intake of omega-3s, particularly in Scandinavian countries. There was some preliminary research that suggested eating diets that had higher intake of omega-3 fatty acids, specifically salmon, were associated with fewer relapses, fewer lesions. Then larger studies didn't replicate the same findings. And part of that just has to do with the difficulty of doing a nutrition study. But what we know from the good studies that we have now are that pick any, let's call it diet. I hate the word diet, but really any structured course of eating for MS, whether it be Mediterranean diet. They've looked at the MIND diet, which is Mediterranean and DASH. They've looked at the Walls Protocol as a modified paleo diet. They've looked at the ketogenic diet, and consistently what's found is an improvement in fatigue, an improvement in sense of well-being, an improvement in quality of life. These are short studies. So if you follow them out long-term, I think that what you'll see is greater improvement in the course of the disease. Perhaps the most convincing research, which is now, is MIND diet, so Mediterranean plus DASH, and they found that there was increased cortical thickness in people who followed the diet to a higher level, to a higher degree. So that means less brain atrophy in people who are eating healthier. There's no question at all that worse MS is associated with vascular conditions. So having diabetes, having high blood pressure, having high cholesterol, peripheral vascular disease, cardiovascular disease, whatever it is, pick your poison. One of those is associated with having to use an assistive device all the time, 6 years faster. So for all of the information that we have about diet and vascular disease, I think that we can apply it to slowing down disability in MS. Kind of transverse property of equality. It's not real science, but if we can keep people with MS from getting vascular conditions, we can keep their MS more stable.
Now, MS is considered an autoimmune disease, correct?
Yes.
So, there's other autoimmune disorders that are obviously positively impacted by nutrition, and it's about healing the gut. And so do you see a lot of research right now talking about how nutrition and lifestyle, even stress management and yoga and acupuncture, along with nutrition, it regulates the microbiome, and it basically increases all the good bacteria and it decreases all the opportunistic bacteria. Are you seeing that talked about in the MS world? I know I'm seeing it in other areas of autoimmune disease.
Yeah, so what we are seeing in the MS world is a lot of research regarding the microbiome, but specific to what does microbiota look like in an MS patient compared to a person who lives without MS? And then why is that different? Like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? They have looked at very specifically changing, say, giving a very specific probiotic to people with MS, and what they found was they could change the gut bacteria. But then what does that mean? So it has yet to extrapolate into disease modification. But those of us in this space talk very frequently just about, the gut brain connection and what happens when you stay in fight or flight all the time. And you can stay in fight or flight all the time from what you let in your head, what you put in your mouth, and what you let in your heart. And so we talk about that as making the disease worse. Stress in MS is associated with, specifically high level stress is associated with increased relapse rate, increased MRI lesions. So yes, we do talk about that. Are we seeing it in the research yet? Not to the degree that we would like.
That probably, everything to do with the microbiome is such an emerging science that it'll be really fascinating as time goes on to see all of those connections and what we learn as time goes on.
Can you kind of back the camera up and just maybe talk about the progression of multiple sclerosis? So when, who are the people that typically have it? What are their first symptoms? And then what would be a typical progression for someone who has MS?
I just lost you, Heather. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Did you hear the question, Megan? Yeah. Can you hear us?
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
It stopped for a minute. So MS typically occurs in a younger population. Between the ages of 20 and 50 is when it's most commonly diagnosed. The symptom list of how it could present is about as long as the symptom list for what happened with COVID. But most people will present with, say, vision loss in an eye and optic neuritis, or relatively sensory loss, sometimes vestibular disturbance or balance loss, trouble walking. Occasionally people present with years of just vague, like, I'm so tired, I'm tingly, and there's nothing really hard that happens. But most people with MS have a very distinct relapsing course in the beginning of the disease. So they have these discrete neurological events that affect their lives. They get better, near completely or completely better within 6 to 8 weeks. And then something happens again. depending on the number of lesions they have on MRI, we can diagnose them very, very early, start them on treatment. And the face of MS looks a lot different now than it did even 10 years ago from getting a person on therapy at the onset of the disease. I feel very, very strongly that as a whole, clinicians are much more tuned in to the nuances of lifestyle therapies, and they're much more willing to refer a person to a dietitian for a consult, much more willing to use physical therapy as a modality to develop an exercise program versus just fix something that went wrong. I think that people are tuned into that much more now than even, say, 5 years ago.
So what would you say, as far as diet goes, what has the biggest impact? Whether it be what foods adding in would have the biggest impact for people with MS?
Water.
Say that one more time.
Water.
Water.
Yeah. So people with MS tend to be constipated. They also tend to have issues with bladder urgency and frequency. So they stop drinking water so they don't have to pee, and then they get more constipated. If they have spasticity, not drinking water increases their spasticity, it increases fatigue. So sometimes just having a person to start drinking water is a great place to start. And you can often get them to substitute water for some other unhealthy beverage. Like I drink 2 liters of sweet tea a day or a 12-pack of Diet Coke. Okay, let's bring in, for every 16 ounces of that you drink a 16-ounce glass of water and start making a change that way.
So when you work with your patients, well, actually, let's back up. You did a study not too long ago. And I think it was last year, maybe towards the end of the year before. Would you mind talking a little bit about your study and what you did and what your results were?
Yeah, so we did a 6-week workshop series, and we ended up being virtual because of COVID, but we brought in experts in yoga therapy, meditation, you, Heather, for nutrition, physical therapy, counseling, health coaching. We brought in a songwriter. We wrote a song at the end of the 6 weeks. We did art therapy, music therapy, sound healing. We just used a lot of modalities that typically aren't covered by insurance. And we looked at some quality of life aspects before and after the 6-week program. So what we found is that everyone loved what we did. Our evaluations were super strong. The improvements in quality of life didn't quite match with the degree of support and positivity we heard from the evaluations. And that's not uncommon when you are enlisting people to make significant changes in their lives. It has to be, you kind of have to follow them out longer. It's something that happens with a lot of our other programming in MS when we do quick programs. But I think as a whole, the group who was in the study, a lot of gold nuggets out of it to take into their daily lives when it came to making changes with the food that they were eating, when it came to meditation or adding in some mindfulness, even play through art or music. So that was it was a lot of fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If anybody has specific questions related to multiple sclerosis and nutrition considerations, please feel free to write in. What do you feel is your biggest takeaway as a clinician working with multiple sclerosis and lifestyle factors? What do you feel like, maybe what do you think is your biggest surprise? Or what have you learned throughout your practice that you maybe weren't trained, like it wasn't in your textbooks kind of thing?
Yeah, well, so nutrition in general, really isn't taught in nursing school. So for me, the vast majority of what I learned about nutrition came from my integrative medicine fellowship. The biggest takeaway, I think that it's a takeaway and it's a take home for people listening and people working with folks who live with MS, is that we say all these wonderful things about ways to change your life and ways to live healthier, but the most common and probably the most significant symptom for people living with MS is fatigue. And it's not sleepiness. It's really a neuromuscular fatigue. I pulled the plug from the old TV, and the color like went in on the screen and you just kind of crump out. So when we're giving, like you're giving hacks, right? Like hacks to make things easier. You've got to tell a person who lives with MS how to do things easily. You have to be sure that, I just wrote something for our MS nurses organization about guiding people towards a diet, because people want to leave an office with the resource. You might say, eat healthier, follow these rules, but they want to read a book. Here's the book. I want to read about the swing diet. I want to read about Dr. McNougal. Here's your book. But the two best things you can do for a person when you recommend a specific diet are to give them good resources and a referral to a registered dietitian or a licensed dietitian, and a referral to an occupational therapist to help them with energy conservation for meal prep.
Excellent.
And no one told me that. That's just something I've learned over the years working with amazing OTs and nutritionists who themselves live with MS.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the biggest lesson I've learned.
So my mom's on here. She has MS, and Megan's actually her nurse and works with her. And meal prep is definitely a big thing. I think the fatigue issue, it does make it a little more challenging. That's one of the things with eating healthfully. There can be, unless you want to spend more money on some pre-prepared things, it can be challenging. So I think one of the things that we've been using is Bistro, which is like a healthy, they have all plant-based stuff, but they will send my mom like the frozen meals. And so having some of those resources are good kind of in between, if she might want to make a salad from one of those pre-prepared salad bags, or she tries to eat as healthfully as possible, and she's doing amazing. Thank you to you, Megan. But definitely having those pre-prepared resources really helps. So maybe one of the things we could do is add a list of some of the better options. And when we send out a replay of this recording.
Yeah, I'd be happy to help with that.
That would be awesome.
All right. You ready for some rapid fire?
Yeah, we might have to go a little slowly just because of the connection, but I'm ready.
We're not too fast, so don't worry.
We're not fast.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of you don't need to take too long to answer the question. We're not looking for a thesis. Just give us your quick tips based on a few questions here, okay?
Okay.
All right. Dawn, you want to take the first one?
Okay. So Megan, you live in the Jacksonville area, kind of the Jacks Beach area, right?
Yep.
What are your favorite local restaurants to eat at? And when you eat there, what do you order?
All right. So my favorite local restaurant in the Jacks Beach area is actually Florida Juice and Bowl. They have a V-Land smoothie. It's like avocado, kale, spinach, walnuts, bananas, maybe some dates. It's just delicious. It has lots of good fat and it fills me up.
And what is that called again?
It's called the V-Land.
V-Land. Okay.
V-Land,
Okay.
which ironically is named after a surf break down the street here on the North Shore called Belseyland.
That's funny.
But yeah. And, otherwise I love like certain things, we love to eat at Taco Lu. The food's really fresh. And, I feel like since I had a child, we don't eat out as much.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's my go-to thing. I don't like to eat super heavy anymore. So yeah.
Taco Lu used to have some really good tempeh tacos. Do they still have tempeh tacos?
They do.
They do. And I believe their tempeh still comes from the same guy over in Gainesville.
Gainesville. Is it Art? Now it's Arto Moro tempeh. It used to be Artie's tempeh and he would deliver it on a bike. But now he's more official.
Yeah. It's good tempeh for sure.
Yeah. All right. So we're all, you have a child, you're working, you're married, you run a household, and I have to imagine that time is of the essence. So I know, we lean on a lot of packaged foods and just try to do the best we can. So kind of like my little palmini hack, it's basically no fuss pasta that is made out of hearts of palm. So what is your kind of hack related to processed, like minimally processed, but packaged foods to save time?
Sure. So my husband has celiac, so we eat primarily gluten-free. I like crunchy things. So my favorite minimally processed packaged crunchy food is the Crunchmaster grain-free lightly salted cracker.
Yes, and I love those.
Not the Mediterranean one, because the Mediterranean one has seed oil. The lightly salted plain one does not have seed oil. So that's our favorite thing. We also really like the bee-free wraps. There's like a quinoa seed, like really good fiber. Like my son likes them. So we will make wraps in those instead of using the pie and nothing and everything.
I'll have to try that first one you mentioned. I've not
free wraps and then that Crunchmaster cracker.
Those are good. Okay. So I think what you said, the last thing was the bee-free wraps, the quinoa ones. We lost you a little bit there at the end, but I think that's what you had said.
Oh, yeah, that's what I said. I feel like they're more nutritious than gluten-free bread, which is basically just high in carbohydrates.
Yes. Yeah. We really like those too. And you really can buy those almost anywhere. Publix and Walmart sells them as well. Or at least they did. I mean, I know there's like random food shortages now. Okay. So what is your favorite plant-based money hack? Like, how do you keep your costs down?
I buy everything when it's on sale and freeze it. So those beef-free wraps are sometimes, Bogo at Publix, and they freeze and thaw really well. So we'll buy those, freeze them. I'll also buy fresh organic berries when they go on sale, prep them and freeze them. That's my hack.
Awesome.
Yeah, we do that as well. Okay. So what would you say is your favorite time hack? So how do you save time?
Yeah, I do this a lot. I don't care if it's 110 degrees outside. I love soup. So I will make, a huge pot of soup on Sunday, and I'll eat that for lunch during the week. Although my pot has to get bigger because my husband used to say he didn't like soup. And then by Tuesday, all the soup's gone. And I'm like, dude, where's my lunch? So now I have to make more soup. But that saves so much time. And I really struggle with lunch. I usually don't have a lot of time to eat it. So I'll pour soup in like a ball jar and I'll just sip it. A ball jar. Yes, a ball jar.
Like parrots.
Yeah. Yeah. He's been good.
Okay, I think it's my turn. So what is your best advice for someone who wants to move towards adding more plant-based foods into their diet?
So a lot of people get upset when you tell them to take things out of their diet. So I just ask people to add things in. Like if you're going to keep eating all the things, then add 2 cups of greens to your lunch and your dinner.
Okay.
You know, a little extra virgin olive oil, vinegar, salt, pepper, lemon. Make a big bowl of that, eat that before you eat all the other things. And then the other 2 things I like are switching from a dairy creamer to a nut milk creamer and trying it like a Meatless Monday.
Okay, nut milk creamer and a Meatless Monday. Okay, awesome.
Yep.
Hi, Dane.
You say hi. Say hi. Say hi. Hey, buddy, can you go grab me a towel, please? Like the beach towel.
Okay.
Thanks.
So, what do you feel really sets you or your practice apart from maybe the colleagues in the same field, but who really haven't found lifestyle medicine yet? You know, it's unique, and it's definitely unique in Jacksonville. So, you know, what might your patients expect from you that they may not get from other clinicians in the same area?
So my practice is really, hold on, buddy, I'll be there. I'll be done quick. It really has a spiritual basis. And so like when people talk about mind, body, spirit, my focus is really on spirit. And I believe that you can spend as many hundreds of thousands of dollars as you want to on all the things, but until you heal your heart and until you find your soul's purpose, it's really hard to heal. And so that's where my focus is. And I do that through focusing on the nervous system, through stress management. And I'm not afraid to tell people that. I'm not afraid to say, listen, you know, another stool test isn't going to help you get better if you still haven't learned how to breathe. So that's, I think, what sets me apart from a lot of the integrative or functional medicine practices.
I have to say that I feel the exact same way. I get a lot of people who want, you know, some kind of blood test to see their nutrition deficiencies, and they want some kind of meal plan. And, you know, you listen to their lifestyle and they're working, you know, 60 plus hours a week, and they have some stress at home, and maybe they're going through like a divorce, or they're, you know, they lost their job, or they lost a loved one. And, you know, obviously we can't control everything, but I feel like until they address those things and find a place, you know, there's a time and a place. And, you know, I've seen so many people feel better once they, you know, started stress management practices, and they've made meaningful changes in their nutrition. So I see that a lot.
Yeah. Okay, so what is your current passion project, Megan?
So I wrote a book, and as part of, it's called Monday Mantras with Megan, and I did like a little, I guess, Instagram live thing in 2020. And I wrote along with it. And at the end of the year, I was like, I've always wanted to write a book and I haven't done that. And then I was like, wait, I just did it. So right now it's an audio subscription. It's a weekly mantra that you get. And by the fall, I will have the book. I'm a book person, so I'm much more excited about the book. But I'll have the book available on Instagram, and it's really a lighthearted and approachable way to bring mindfulness into your life through a weekly intention. And then there's an action associated with it. So it might be a yoga pose, or it might be using an essential oil, or using creativity with color through food or art, or a breath technique. So it kind of rotates each week. And I love talking about it. Personally, I heal through writing. So the process of doing this for me was very healing.
And we'll have a link to share with everybody.
Yeah, I will give you a link to the website for this. If people want to do the subscription with a discount code, I give money back to Can Do MS with the discount code.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right.
That is very cool.
All right. So
Thanks.
what's your advice for other healthcare practitioners trying to get into lifestyle medicine and advise clients to add more, culinary and more nutrition as part of their recommendations? What would you say to those trying to get into that space?
Get off social media and get some real training.
That could go for everybody.
Yeah, I know.
Really, I think that, there are, you don't even know who's telling you to do what these days on Instagram and TikTok. So I would just encourage people to find what they're most passionate about and seek training in that field. Maybe it's health and wellness coaching. For me, I know that I didn't want to be a coach. I really wanted to remain a clinician. So that's the way that I went with my training. But if you're into yoga and you want to use it to heal people, study yoga therapy, not just a 200-hour teacher training. Study yoga therapy. Physicians, nurse practitioners, PAs, chiropractors are not registered dietitians. So the things that I tell a person are just really the tip of the iceberg compared to what Heather will tell a person. And when someone asks me, well, how should I meal plan or meal prep? Again, tip of the iceberg compared to what Dawn and Tracy can tell a person to do from the standpoint of actually like putting this stuff together. So that's it. Get some training.
I love that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Dr. Megan,
might be a little harsh, but it's true.
No way. I mean, these are people's lives, I don't think people understand not just the impact, how beneficial nutrition can be, but also how you can hurt someone. You can actually throw someone in the different direction, than they want to go just by switching up what they eat. And, it matters. And, I see people who've been hurt a lot. So,
yeah.
Well, this has been amazing.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much for your time and taking time out of your day in Hawaii to do this. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You're
and
welcome.
We can't.
I wanted to.
Oh, go ahead.
I wanted to give you a better view, but I was afraid I'd lose the internet connection. So.
Oh, I'm sure it is
sitting in the house.
What island are you on, Megan?
We're on the North Shore of Oahu.
Okay.
Too cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well,
we really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's going to happen is Dawn recorded this video, and in the next couple of days, it will be up on YouTube. And it will have all the links and a brief summary of what Dr. Megan talked about today. So everybody, if you wanted to catch something again, you can watch it. If you want to share it with someone, please feel free. And next month, I know we talked about the gut microbiome, but next month is going to be Dr. Lindsey Merritt. She's a gastroenterologist at Borland Groover in Jacksonville. And, she's amazing, like absolutely amazing. And we're very lucky to have her as well. So that's going to be Tuesday, the 19th, I believe.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so everyone that's on here, we will also send out an update about that. So you can stay tuned, but I hope that you enjoyed this information, and also please share this video when we send you the replay with anyone that has MS or anyone that knows someone that has MS, because that connection of nutrition and dealing with MS. It's so vital. So Megan, this was really amazing.
Thank you guys.
One more thing before we go. If you haven't seen it, you guys have to see the documentary Code Blue. It is with Dr. Saray, Saray Stancic, Stancic. And I put it in the chat, and I'll include that in the notes as well.
Okay.
But you have to see that documentary. It's all about diet, and Dr. Saray Stancic had her own autoimmune issues that she basically reversed her symptoms using nutrition. So really great story.
And might I add that part of her journey includes having gone down the path of being told to take many supplements and actually having harm from that. And that's how she found nutrition. So yeah, she's awesome.
Yep.
Okay.
For sure. All right, everybody. We hope you have a wonderful evening. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you. And we hope to see you all soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, that's such a cute family.
Yes, very cute.
Oh my God. So cute. Look at that smile. Oh my God. So adorable. Look at all of them.
Oh, so cute.
Oh.
Oh. Hey, Lisa.
Hi.
Oh my goodness.
Ah, so good.
You guys are having so much fun. You're not friendly at all.
Adorable.
There's no shyness here.
Oh my goodness. Look at that happy smile.
So cute.
I love it. Oh my goodness. You have very squishable children.
Thank you.
Look.
We have a full audience here tonight.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me, are you guys going to eat fruit tonight, or are you going to eat vegetables or beans? What do you
You want to tell her?
We had asparagus and rice and beans.
Oh,
say?
good
And then
job.
what did you make to eat after?
And yesterday we made Sid made a smoothie, and then I decided maybe we could freeze it and make it into ice cream.
Wow.
Oh my God. Are you a chef?
Yeah. So you made the rice and beans too, right?
And I made the rice and beans
And the asparagus.
and the asparagus.
I can't believe you ate asparagus. I think you should get an award for that.
Mm.
That is so great. That is so great.
Very
I
good.
bet you guys are getting really strong. Look at that. I can tell. Look right there.
Yeah. Some big muscles right there.
I can tell.
Right there.
I see some really smart adults growing up right there.
Yes, life skills. Teaching them life skills.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having it. We enjoyed it. I'm definitely looking forward to next month. I'm gonna try and get my mother-in-law on for that one because
Awesome.
she's been seeing a GI lately. So
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it'll be good for her.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, there'll
Sure.
definitely be a replay if she can't make it, but we'd love to have her.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for doing this. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm so glad. Thanks. Yeah, I'm glad you found us, and we've connected through Instagram. So it was so cool to
Yes.
see you on here. So
Yep.
Awesome.
Well, hey, Dawn's mom, how are ya?
Bye.
bye.
I love it. Hi.
And hi, Tracy. I did a shout out about your book. So hopefully, and I will add that into our notes too when I send out the replay.
I saw that. Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I had a hard time connecting. I don't know why, but I could not get it to connect to my computer. So then I had to set up my phone, and I haven't zoomed on my phone in forever, but I was like, I'm determined to get on here. So I finally
That happened to
Are you
me
in
that with our
Jacksonville?
first recording. I had to do last minute phone Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you in Jacksonville?
No, I'm in Georgia,
Oh, okay.
just at the border. So, you know, not far. I go to Jacksonville
Yeah.
for.
I was gonna say it's raining here, so you never know.
It was raining here, and I thought maybe it was internet, but then my phone, I've got internet. I've got the Wi-Fi using it on my phone. So I don't know. My computer's just, it's temperamental. It's a woman, apparently.
And
So-
Tracy is Veggie Cooking Camden. So she owns
Ah,
yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I had no idea who you were.
Yeah. So, and she wrote a book about MS, and Megan wrote part of the foreword, right? She wrote, yep.
Yes.
So,
Heather, you
Tracy-
do know me. We met a long time ago through Whole Foods, and we also did the kayaking trip, not together, but we did it at the same time. There was a kayaking trip back a couple years ago. We've kind of met here and there,
Wow.
but yeah, that's me.
I think I've only done like one kayaking trip. Dang.
Me too.
There you go.
It was a lot.
So
It
cool.
talk about fatigue, like that kicked my butt. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay. It was great. It was beautiful, but it was like the North Florida Trust or something.
I know exactly what it was. You know what killed me was carrying those darn kayaks to the water, like what felt like 5 million miles. I was like, you couldn't have got us any closer.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't carry a kayak. What the hell?
I had to not only borrow a kayak that day, I had to borrow someone's truck to put it in because I didn't think about the fact that it wouldn't fit in my Prius. And so then I was driving this weird truck that I didn't know. It was a hoot that day, but I did enjoy it. I definitely got a little tired. I've got really good lower body strength, but my upper body strength isn't always there like I'd like to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
Well, cool.
yeah.
Well, thanks, ladies. I appreciate you jumping on tonight.
Yeah. Sorry if I sent out the wrong link at the beginning. So I think hopefully we got it figured out.
Apparently, when I saw that, I thought maybe that was my problem. But then, like I said, I went on with my phone and went right to the one. I don't know.
I know. Yeah.
That
sorry
was
about that.
enjoyable. It was good seeing you even from afar. But you guys have
Yeah.
a good night.
You
Yeah.
too.
Take
All
care,
right. Bye,
guys.
you guys.
Bye. I'm gonna go eat my yummy dinner.
Yeah.